Today, I'm talking about the exciting world of packaging. So let's get started. Welcome to Beyond Kalidasia, the show that takes you behind the scenes of the tabletop miniature space combat game Legends of Kalidasia. I'm Jason, the creator of the game, and today I'm talking about the exciting world of packaging. In particular here, I've got two things in my hand. First up, I have the Surikar frigate miniature, which also includes the plasma missile boat and the anti-missile upgrade pieces. And then this guy here is the new Airgul frigate miniature, which includes the anti-fighter, or I suppose technically the anti-aircraft, which isn't really appropriate since it's a spaceship, but the anti-aircraft, anti-fighter upgrade bits that allow you to build the particular type of ship from the Admiral Rules pack. And I'm talking about this because getting good packaging for custom games, very limited order production, limited production run games is the right term, limited production run games, can be incredibly difficult. Because you're not going to have thousands upon thousands of copies of something. It's actually very cost prohibitive to get your own custom packaging. In fact, I actually was talking to a local printing company a few weeks ago about getting more copies of Legends of Kalidasia printed up, and one of the things I asked about was getting a custom box. You know, they have a nice looking box, obviously little components in the inside, little areas inside to put the different pieces so it's nice and arranged and look all pretty in the shelves. And I wanted anywhere from a relatively small number, which is by a small number I mean less than 1,000, and not including the actual artwork. So this would be, I'd have to still go ahead and get my artwork. I have to pay someone to do the artwork or make it myself. To produce a small order of boxes, it would literally cost $100 per box. And I kind of looked at this quote and I'm like, are you guys actually seriously sending me this quote for $100 per box for a game that I sell for $60? Yes. So regardless, I assume they just still sent me the quote because I asked for it. I don't think anyone at the company in their right mind would actually assume that I would go for such a thing. But yeah, that's give you an idea. For custom boxes, you're really looking at orders of 1,000 or more minimum to make them cost effective. Now, there are some print-on-demand services. I know, like, for example, the GameCrafter.net. I've looked at them before. They do sell some sort of print-on-demand boxes. I've never used them. They're probably pretty decent, but in this case, you're locked to a fixed number of sizes. Now, if I were to actually use their boxes, the size I need for Legends of Kalidasia, I think it'd be $6 a box. Now, obviously, $6 is a lot better than $100 per box, but $6 is still a decent chunk of money, especially if you want to try to sell your game to distributors. But granted, if you're going to go through distribution route through stores, you're probably going to have to order thousands of copies anyway, but that's a whole other topic altogether. So the question comes in, how do you get decent packaging for your games? Now, assuming you can go ahead and get the proper good artwork done, that's a separate topic. Hire someone to do that for you. I try to do it myself because I can't afford somebody, and then mixed results. These look pretty good, though. I like the figure boxes. They're pretty good. But there are some clever solutions to get around this. One, for some of the game components, like I know the Exterior fleets, I literally slap a label on an envelope. It's not as pretty as what you're going to get from a major game company, but it's pretty clean and it looks halfway as decent. I go buy a packaging labels, nice full color print off my little printer over here, which is a nice business class inkjet that works really good, and I slap a label on there. It works pretty good. The Admiral Rules pack's done that way, so is Exterior fleets, and assuming when I go ahead to refresh the fleet packs, they'll probably get something similar. And something like that is relatively cheap. I mean, as long as you have a decently efficient printer, you're looking at less than $1 an envelope, if not, depending on how much it costs you to print a full color thing off. And probably if you went to an actual print shop to get a bunch of labels done, it would probably be even cheaper that way. When you get into larger boxes, like for example, the Legends of Kalidasia box set, you can do, once again, slap a label on it. A lot of people do that. It doesn't look quite as good. What I have is I have a mailer box. I slap a giant 8.5 by 11-inch label on it. It's not great, but it works. You can also use a large envelope if it's a relatively thin package. So, for example, if I wanted to, with the complete battle kit, which doesn't include the figures, I could probably put that in a giant envelope if I really wanted to, but that's another kind of thing. You can try to use some sort of box wrap. This usually requires some sort of specialized printing equipment. I could probably do it on my printer I have here, which I guess I might as well say is Epson Workforce. I'm calling it this generic thing. It's an Epson Workforce. It's a fairly decent business class printer, and business class printers are cheaper in ink. So even though my Epson Workforce could do something like that, it probably would take a lot of ink and therefore would become more expensive than just like a small label, a slap on an envelope. So I would actually want to farm that out to an actual print shop at that point. And I find there's plenty of local print shops. Just look around, talk to some people, get some quotes, and you're good that way. Now there are some other clever solutions you can do. I'm going to show you up here for the first time an actual non-Kalidasia gaming product. Oh no, because this is actually an incredibly clever way to sell, to include a box of your figures. This right here is a case. It's actually called the Mantic case. That's a trademark, by the way. Mantic case trademark for the game Dreadball. Mantic is, I believe they're a British company. They make kind of like a GW style competitor. They have a lot of products. Dreadball is actually their sci-fi sports game that competes with Blood Bowl. I've only played the game once. Got a lot of friends who really like it, so I decided to buy myself a team to try the game out. But what's clever about this box here, that's their quote, Mantic case. I love the fact that it's trademarked. I don't know why I find that so hilarious, but I do. It is a VHS cassette case. It's a VHS cassette case with a few pieces of foam in it to store the figures. This is actually incredibly clever because I guarantee you there are millions upon millions of VHS cassette boxes sitting somewhere in a warehouse looking to just get rid of them. And you probably get them for a few cents a piece if you buy them like 1,000 or more at a time. So this was a really smart move on their part. And I bet for you, if your game would fit in a VHS case like this, go ahead and try to find them. I'm sure they're available in surplus markets for really cheap. And they have a little plastic thing here, and all Mantic did was print off a label, which they stuck inside the little plastic sleeve that wraps around it. Actually, I think if you open it up here, yeah, it's just a little paper sleeve they print it off and they stick inside here. So that's one good option, and that's actually what inspired me to create my miniature cases for Legends of Kalidasia, which, since I only sell in one miniature at a time and a smaller size thing, these are cassette tape cases. They are actually literally cassette tapes. You can buy them just as cheap as VHS tapes. Seriously, whoever uses cassette tapes anymore. I go to garage sales and pay about $1/4 or less each for the cassettes. I mean, if you go to like a church rummage show where they have like a $5 bag sale, go pay for the $5 bag, get 100 tapes, get a bunch of books, and they're basically free. So what I ended up doing, I took an actual VHS, an actual cassette tape thing, and I scanned in the proper label, then drew a new label over top of it using the GIMP, and printed out some cardstock, and I stuck it in here, folded it in here, and it actually looks pretty good. And this thing's got all 7 pieces of tape holding it together, but that was the first one I made. But they end up looking pretty good, and they actually work really well for holding my miniatures. So if you have small miniatures, here you go, cassette tape packaging. That should give you a bit of a look into the rationale behind why I package my figures the way I do and how I build my packaging. If you have any questions or comments for me, or if there's a certain topic you want me to cover on a future episode, send them over to me at kalidasiagames@gmail.com. It goes straight to my phone, which is sitting over there on my futon's armrest. So I can answer you right back, or if you want, I can answer it on a future episode of the show. If you want to check out Legends of Kalidasia, buy any of the products, including the new miniatures that are now available, or try out the free starter kits, see what the game is all about, head over to the website at kalidasia.com. And once again, I'm Jason. Thanks for watching.